So dry brush technique. You don't want to have lots of paint on your brush, because having lots of paint on your brush is how you do big floody areas like that. You can't get dry brush if you've got a wet brush. But it should have paint on it, but not much. Now, if you've dried off the brush like this, dried off all the excess paint, and you draw your brush across like this, it covers it really well. If you have just the right amount of paint on there, and you have your brush vertical, look at how much coverage you get. Tons of coverage. But remember when you first started painting, and we were trying to do those, the very first exercise in level 1, you were trying to load up the brush, and even if the brush was really heavily loaded and you tried to scrape it across, look what happens. You're pressing really hard, but because your brush bristles, like if these are the little mountain tops on this paper, and your brush bristles are flat like this, they're only going to skim across the top of the mountains. They can't get into the valleys. It's only when you go like that with your brush bristles that you can go up and down into the valleys. So we're going to deliberately paint it the wrong way by loading up the brush, damping the excess off so there's just the right amount, and then laying it down flat and scratching it sideways. Look at the beautiful dry brush mark you get when you do that. Even if there's a fair bit of paint in there, but you don't want to have the paint so wet and drippy. Like if you really load it up and you don't actually dry it off, look, it's going to do sort of half and half. But if you want to get a true dry brush mark like that, you dry off the excess paint. You've still got to have paint on your brush, but you dry it off and you run it sideways. And look, you just pick up just the texture of the paper. So that's called the dry brush technique. You don't paint vertically. You paint flat and you skim across the top of the mountain tops without too much paint on your brush. Got the idea? That's how you do dry brush technique. I really recommend you practice that at home.